everyone, welcome back to Filouraa. Today's video is a continuation of our draping series. In this tutorial, I'll show you how to drape a basic bodice, both the front and back, using a prepared muslin block. If you haven't watched the previous video on muslin preparation, I highly recommend watching that first because we will be using the same prepared muslin in this tutorial. Once you're done, come back here and continue draping with me. So let's get started. Now let's look our prepared muslin. As you can see, we have already marked all the essential construction lines. In the lengthwise direction, which follows the warp grain, we have marked center front line, princess line and side seam line. In the widthwise direction, following the weft grain, we have marked chest line, waist line and hem line. These markings will help us maintain the correct grain direction while shaping the fabric over the body. Remember, these are not the decorative lines. They are engineering guidelines that ensures the garment hangs properly on the body. Before we begin pinning, let's not ignore the most important concept in draping, that is the grain line. Remember, when we drape a bodice, the center front should always remain parallel to the warp grain. This keeps the garment balanced and prevents twisting or distortion. Similarly, the chest line, waist line should remain horizontal following the weft direction. If the grain line shifts during the draping, the finished garment may pull to one side or twist after stitching or hangs unevenly. That is why professional drapers constantly check the grain line throughout the process, not just at the beginning. Now, let's place our muslin on the dress form. Remember, while preparing the muslin, we measure the length from neckband of the dress form. Therefore, we will begin the draping from the neckline. Fold the muslin neatly along the center front line. Now align this folded edge exactly with the center front line on the dress form. Take your time with this step. If the center front is not aligned properly, every other measurement and fitting adjustment will also become inaccurate. Now we are ready to place our first pin. Many beginners instinctively start pinning from the neckline or shoulder. However, in professional draping, we begin at the apex, the highest point of the bust. You might wonder why not start from the neckline. The apex is the most prominent point on the front bodice. It serves as a pivot point during a draping. Imagine you're holding a muslin while adjusting it around the body. If the fabric accidentally slips, the apex pin keeps the muslin anchored, allowing you to reposition it accurately without losing the alignment of the grain line or a construction line. This single pin gives you a greater control throughout the draping process. So, carefully place the first pin at the apex, ensuring that chest line and waist line remain aligned with the dress form. Next, place a pin at center front. Continue checking that fold remains perfectly straight and aligned with the center front. A tilted center front can lead to an unbalanced garment, affecting both the appearance and the fit. Remember, draping is a gradual process. After every pin, pause for a moment and observe the fabric. Ask yourself, is the grain line still straight? Are the construction lines matching? Is the fabric lying smoothly without unnecessary tension? Developing this habit of checking your work after every step will save a great deal of correction later. So here is a professional tip for pinning. When placing pins, always find the right angles. Insert them neatly and securely. Avoid using too many pins. A common misconception among beginners is that more pins create a better drape. In reality, excessive pinning can distort your fabric, make adjustment difficult, and even damage the dress form over a time. As a general guideline, use maximum of 3 pins to secure each construction line. Place the pins evenly and keep them perpendicular to the line being secured. This makes them easier to remove while maintaining the stability of the muslin. Now that we have secured a muslin at the apex and the center front, we can continue shaping the front bodies. Remember, we are not forcing the fabric to fit the body. Instead, we are allowing the fabric to naturally conform to the contours of the dress form. Now let's begin with the neckline and shoulder line. Using one hand, gently smooth the muslin upwards from the bust towards the shoulder. Avoid pulling off the fabric tightly. Simply remove any unnecessary slack while allowing the muslin to rest naturally on the dress form. Once the neckline is aligned with the neck guideline and shoulder line is aligned with the shoulder guideline on the dress form, secure it with the pins. As mentioned earlier, 3 pins are usually sufficient for any construction line. Example, one pin near the neckline, one at the middle of the shoulder, and one close to the armhole will hold the fabric securely. Always insert the pin neatly at the consistent angle. This not only keeps the fabric stable but also keeps it easier to remove the pins during the marking. Moving on to the armhole is a curved section of a bodice, so avoid stretching the muslin to make it fit. Instead, gently shape the fabric along the curve. Use your fingers to smooth the fabric from the shoulder towards the armhole and secure it with the pins. If you notice that muslin begins to twist or shift, don't continue pinning. Remove the last pin and realign the fabric and then pin it again. Taking a few extra seconds to correct the alignment now will prevent a fitting problems later. To pin the side seam, align the side seam marking on the muslin with the side seam guideline on the dress form. Secure it with 2 or 3 evenly spaced pins. At this point, the upper portion of the body should be fitting the dress form comfortably. While you will notice excess fabric gathering around the waist, this is completely normal. In fact, this extra fabric is essential because it allows us to create the shaping required for the bust and the waist. Let's take a closer look at the excess fabric. Why do we have this excess fabric at the waist? The answer lies in the shape of a human body. The bust projects outwards while the waist is narrower. Our muslin started as a flat rectangular piece of a fabric. To transform that flat fabric into three-dimensional garments, we need to remove the excess of fabric in a controlled manner. This controlled removal of fabric is called dart. A dart is not just a fold of a fabric, it is a shaping technique that helps the garment follow the natural contours of the body. Without dart, the bodice would appear loose, bulky around the waist. Now, let's create the waist dart. Using your thumb and a forefinger, gently pinch the excess at the waist. Don't grab a large amount of fabric at once. Instead, work gradually. Pinch a little, smooth the surrounding fabric. Observe how the muslin settles over the bust. Continue adjusting until fabric lies smoothly against the dress form without any wrinkles. Be careful not to pull the muslin too tightly. The goal is not to make the dress form look smaller. The goal is to create a smooth, natural fit that follows the body contours. Once you are satisfied with the shape, secure the dart with 2 or 3 pins. Now let's check the dart. As we learned in a flat pattern method of basic bodice construction, the dart should point towards the apex but it should not end directly on the apex. Leave approximately 2 to 3 centimeters or let's say 1 inch between the dart tip and the apex. This creates a soft rounded shape over the bust and prevents a pointed appearance in the finished garment. This small detail is one of the characteristics of professionally fitted bodies. Before moving on, take a moment to observe your work. Step back from the dress form and view it from different angles. If you notice any folds or pulling, make a small adjustment before continuing. Here is a tip. Never rush through the fitting stage. Every wrinkle has a reason and every adjustment affects another part of the garment. Instead of trying fix everything at once, make one adjustment, observe the result and then continue. This method helps you understand how fabric behaves on the body, develops the confidence needed for more advanced draping techniques. Now that our front bodice has been draped successfully, the next step is to transfer all the important construction line onto the muslin. This is one of the most crucial stages in draping because this marking will later be transferred onto the paper to create your final pattern. In draping, we commonly use two types of marking. The first one is dotted line. Dotted lines are usually used for continuous construction lines. This include neckline, shoulder line, armhole, side seam, center front, dart legs, and waistline if required. The second type is the cross mark, also known as a balance mark or a match point. Cross mark indicates the exact point where two construction lines intersect. Example, neckline meeting the shoulder line meeting the armhole, armhole meeting the side seam, and side seam meeting the waistline, or a dart tip where the dart legs meet at the waistline. These marks become extremely important during pattern making because they help align different garment pieces accurately during the sewing. Pay an extra attention while marking a waist dart. Carefully mark both the dart legs using a dotted line, then place a cross mark at the dart tip. Remember, the dart marking should remain exactly as they appear on the dress form. Avoid shifting fabric while marking, as even a small movement can affect the fit of a garment. And remember, as soon as you finish marking one section, quickly check whether all your lines are clear and complete before removing the pins. Once the muslin is removed from the dress form, it's much harder to remember the exact position of a missing line or a missing point. Here I have prepared the back muslin with all the construction lines already marked. As we discussed in the muslin preparation video, the length starts from the neckband to the desired length, and we are going to add 4 inches extra. And the widest point of the back muslin is measured across the shoulder blades or across back measurement level, and we generally add 2 inches to provide enough fabric for draping. Just like in the front, identify your center back line, side seam line, waistline, and hemline before placing the muslin on the dress form. Fold the muslin along the center back line where we left 1 inch extra for the folding, and align it with the center back guideline on the dress form. Make sure all the lines marked on the muslin matches the corresponding guidelines on the dress form. We'll begin from the center back and then continue pinning clockwise direction to secure the shoulder, armhole, side seam. As always, we only use enough pins to hold the muslin securely. Around 2 to 3 pins per construction lines are generally sufficient. Remember to smooth the fabric gently while pinning rather than pulling it tightly. Once the side seam has been pinned, you will notice a small amount of excess fabric near the waist. Just like we did for the front bodies, pinch the excess fabric gently and shape it into a back waist dart. The purpose of this dart is to remove excess fabric and help the muslin follow the natural contours of the back. Since the back is flatter than front, the back dart is usually narrower than the front waist dart. Pin the dart in the place and smooth out any remaining wrinkles. If you notice any pulling or twisting, make a small adjustment before proceeding. Remember, a balanced drape will always result in more accurate pattern. Now that the back bodice draping is complete, now move on to the marking the back bodies. The marking is done similar to the front bodies. Here also we are going to use dotted lines and cross mark for marking. The dotted lines are used to indicate the continuous construction lines, and cross marks are used to mark the construction lines intersect. Once all the markings are complete, we can add the necessary allowances. The amount of allowance depends upon the garment style, fabric, and construction method. However, as a general guide, leave the required one seam allowance, that is 0.75 centimeters, along all the joining edges such as the neckline, shoulder line, side seam, and armhole. Leave about 1 centimeter along the finished edges whenever it is appropriate. If the garment requires future fitting adjustment, leave an inlay allowance up to 2 inches. Always mark the allowances before trimming. Once everything is marked, use a sharp fabric scissor and carefully trim away the excess of fabric. Avoid cutting directly on the construction line. Double check your marking before making any cuts. Now comes an important process called truing. Truing means refining the draped pattern by correcting and smoothing all the construction lines. After draping, some lines may appear slightly uneven because the fabric naturally shifts while being pinned. Using a straight ruler and French curve, redraw the lines, including neckline, shoulder line, armhole, side seam, waistline, and dart legs. Make sure all curves smooth and all straight lines are clean. Also compare front and back bodies. Check that the shoulder seam match in length and that the side seam corresponding correctly. A few minutes spent drawing the pattern now will save a lot of correction during the garment construction. Here, our final step is basting. Basting is a temporary hand stitch that holds the draped shape securely until the pattern has been checked or the garment is stitched permanently. Begin by folding the dart along its center line. Start with a back stitch, continue using even running stitch, and finish with another back stitch. This temporary stitch prevents the dart from opening while handling the muslin or transferring it to the paper. If you are creating a trial garment or a toy, basting also allows you to test the fit and make adjustment before permanent stitching. And that's it. Congratulations on completing your basic bodice draping, both the front and back part. I hope this step-by-step tutorial has helped you understand not only how to drape the bodies, but also why each step is interesting. If you find this video helpful, subscribe to Filouraa for more tutorials. Thank you for watching. We'll see you in the next video.